Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Evening Devotion. Tonight we're going to be reading out of Matthew 10:25. It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master. The whole verse says, it is enough for a disciple that he be like his teacher, and a servant like his master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more will they call those of his household? You wonder why? And this is so funny because I was wondering, I had a story to tell of something that happened in the past. And I was wondering if tonight's devotion might be applicable where I could use it. And it is, surprisingly, because I really didn't think it was going to be, even when I started the video. But here we go, because me and Mary Barton were talking about it in the comments earlier. She's finding issues with her electronic devices, and she got a weird phone call from a certain agency, and she didn't want to disclose exactly what was going on. She felt like, it's a type of persecution. The stuff that's going on, and that we're watching all that. And I told her it's because you're a Christian. That's why it happens. I know this for a fact. And even a former head of CIA, or not head of CIA, but a former top official of CIA. And there was an article I shared with her, and this was on either morning devotion this morning or evening devotion yesterday. I don't remember which one, but I shared an article with her of that guy. There was a video interview. It's on YouTube. But he said the one group of citizens that the CIA, the FBI, and other people in key places, the one that they're afraid of are Christians because they can't be manipulated. They won't bend the knee to tyranny. They'll look to God, and they know this, and they know that the harder they push on them, it's just going to make them that much more stern in their beliefs. This is why we don't have much Christian physical persecution in this country. Ours is very spiritual. And what I told her is that this goes back, and I've shared with you guys before, this goes back to 2009 when this stuff really started getting bad, and it was happening at the highest level. And they were trying to pass legislation. Everybody talks about DEI, but what they don't tell you is why DEI was implemented. It has nothing to do with that other stuff. It has to do with trying to suppress Christianity. And when you dig deep into it, you find that out. They were attempting to do it. And that guy shared in that article, and there's other articles from him, he talks about a lot of that. And that was just one step they were using to try to either manipulate or suppress Christians and Christianity. Because they're scared of us. Because we're a problem. Even though we don't do anything, we're a problem. We cannot be manipulated or controlled, and we won't be. Because we belong to someone else. You would think that would snap. And they would go, well, maybe there is something to this Christianity. You think? Well, you guys, you may never have noticed this. Some of you may have. Being watched. Certain vehicles passing by your house. We're all our names are on lists. It's very special lists from very special groups. They know where we are at any point in time. What do you think all this... And here's what's funny. All this tracking and all this GPS and all this stuff, it all, at the core of it, it's all about watching us and what we're doing and where we're at. And people will say, well, that's what makes you special. That's tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. Here's the thing. I've used the technology in the military. I had secret clearance. I got to be privy to certain conversations and certain meetings. Sitting on the wall, being quiet like I was supposed to, and listening. You ever wonder why when sometimes a train full of military equipment passes by, suddenly your cell phone quits working? I've used that equipment. They have them all over the place. So I know it's real. And I'll tell you a quick story that goes along with that, because it should be no surprise to us that we are persecuted in this way. And since 2009, there's been active attempts to pass legislation against Christianity specifically. They try to sneak it into bills, and every now and then you'll hear a little quip about it somewhere, or a little mention of it somewhere. But they've been actively trying to do this since 2009. Well, who got elected president in 2008? And that guy in that article, he says that specifically. It started really bad, really heavy under Obama, because he was not a Christian. So I'll tell you a quick story. When I was stationed in New York and I lived in Watertown, I lived on Academy Street. and it was a four-way street, and it was two streets off of the main road going through that particular part of town. And I would sit there and because it was an old house, so it had a little thing in the front. You could sit there, it had 3 windows in it. You sit and look out, and I could see most of the street. And I was talking to somebody on the phone. I forgot who I was talking to, but every so often I would see a black Suburban pass through the neighborhood, go down the street. And he had a weird looking little thing on top, not like what you see in these other vehicles. But it looked very similar to what is on top of the AWAC airplanes, AWAC jets. And it's scanners and tracking. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and I see the guy come up to the stop sign. I'm looking at him. And he's looking all over the place. He turns the corner to the left and goes in front of the house. And I said, yeah, one of them, because I was talking about this to this guy. I said, one of them's passing in front of my house right now, scanning the area. And he jerked his head to the left and looked right at me. Windows were closed. He couldn't hear me. He jerked his head to the left and looked right at me, and then jumped on the gas and sped off. I caught him. I see him everywhere. See all these protests going on out there? All these little, organizations that are doing all this stuff? You can look for guys with tan jackets or vests on and black ball caps. You see them very quietly and very nonchalantly remove yourself from the area. They're watching everyone. My daughter had that happen to her. I warned her about that. I told her, I said, if it's cool, they're going to wear a tan jacket or a tan vest with pockets on it, and they'll have a black ball cap. Maybe a design, maybe not. Some of them have the Punisher design. It just depends on what they're feeling or what they have access to that day. And usually dark glasses. Sometimes aviators, a lot of times aviators, and they're watching. And so she had gone to some that were going on up there and was giving out water and stuff like that. And she was talking to somebody, and she saw somebody walking out the corner of her eye and turned her head just to look, just normal. And she saw somebody exactly as I described. And she started watching. Well, she moved herself to a position where she could see more clearly. She said she saw 7 of them. And she said, and she told me, she goes, and Dad, the first thing I thought of was, this is what my dad exactly told me to watch for. I said, they were watching you guys. So as Christians, we are very have heavy surveillance on us. They watch us closely. They want to see what we're doing. Depending on what I talk about, my videos get suppressed big time. Their goal is to not promote us. Their goal is to suppress us. Remember what I told you guys? It's a miracle we have faith today, because everything in our society is designed to steer us away from Jesus Christ. Everything. That's why most people don't believe. That's why even some people calling themselves Christians, a lot of them actually, will attack actual Christians for no reason other than them speaking the gospel. I've seen pastors do it on videos. One of them threatened to shoot a guy one time. He's a pastor of a church. It's crazy. And all he was doing was preaching the gospel. So, yeah, they watch us close. And ultimately, when you boil this down to its smallest denominator, it all stems from Satan. He's keeping an eye on us. Like the whole thing with COVID. A lot of people are like, well, it was this, it was that. I'll tell you exactly what it was. I know, because I did the research, I dug into the information, and I was suppressed. I wasn't allowed to talk about it. So I had to have a Brighteon account so I could share this stuff. But Satan was trying to find us. He was trying to corrupt people and trying to figure out who we are, because he doesn't know. He's not all-knowing. He's trying to find out who we are. Ultimately, that's what that boiled down to. That's what that was attempt of, to corrupt the children of God. He's been doing it since Adam and Eve. So it's no surprise. Now, don't be surprised if this video gets taken down by YouTube. It could. I don't know. But don't think for 1 second we don't have persecution in this country. Oh, we do. It is just on a very different level. And there have been people from other countries that are physically persecuted that have been brought here, and they're like, we'd rather go back to that. What you guys got going on here, we can see the demons. It's everywhere. Y'all are surrounded. Yeah, we are. It's horrible. And once you know this, once you see this, it changes your perspective on a lot of things. It's made me stand my ground that much more. But see, that's what they don't like. That's what they worry about. Because if they decide to try to drop the hammer on everybody's freedom, who do you think is going to stand up? Well, you'll have a lot of people stand up, but the Christians will become the loudest. And they don't like that. That's why everything you hear, everything you see, it's all designed to deceive. It's all designed to steer us away. People that say they're Christian, like Candace Owens, always trying to cause a problem and inject false information in there to create issues, create a division. Didn't the Lord warn us about people that create division? Didn't Paul warn us about that? Yeah, sure he did. So no surprise that it is enough for a disciple that he be like his teacher and a servant like his master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more will they call those of his household? If they called Jesus that, they persecuted him, how much more will they persecute us? Because we're easier to get to. Like I said, I've said it many times. They want him, but they can't get to him. They can't touch him. So they're going to come after the next best thing, and that's us. That's why we're persecuted. They hate us. So let's go up here. This whole thing is like this. Persecution will come. We'll start in verse 16. Persecution will come. It's here. We have it. You let them do physical persecution in this country, and boy, you better believe that 3/4 of this country will turn Christian real fast. All they'll do is make more Christians, and they learned their lesson back under Constantine. All they do by doing physical persecution is make more Christians. So they don't want that. That's why they're trying to find other ways. Behold, verse 16, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to councils and scourge you in their synagogues. You will be brought before governors and kings for my sake, as a testimony to them and to the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, do not worry about how or what you should speak. For it will be given to you in that hour what you should speak. For it is not you who speaks, but the Spirit of your Father who speaks in you. Now brother will deliver up brother to death. That's happening. That's happening. And a father his child. And children will rise up against parents and cause them to be put to death. Did you see it happen when that little event happened in 2020, 2021, 2022? It happened then. It was happening. It's happening. It was happening under Biden when people were standing up for Trump. It's happening. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake. But he who endures to the end will be saved. So we have to hang on. We have to hang on for our sake, for the Lord's sake. We have to hang on for the gospel, hang on for the truth. I see no other option but to hang on. And if they want to remove me from this earth for that, cool. Send me home to be with my Lord. While I'm here, though, I'm going to stand my ground. When they persecute you in this city, flee to another. For assuredly I say to you that you will not have gone through the cities of Israel before the Son of Man comes. A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a servant above his master. It is enough for a disciple that he be like his teacher and a servant like his master. If they called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more will they call those of the household? Therefore do not fear them. For there is nothing covered that will not be revealed, and hidden that will not be known. Whatever I tell you in the dark, speak in the light. And what you hear in the ear, preach on the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. But rather fear him who is able to destroy both body and soul in hell. That's our Father, by the way. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a copper coin, and not one of them falls to the ground apart from your Father's will? Look at that. Just as such a least thing. 2 sparrows sold for a copper coin, and not one of them falls to the ground apart from your Father's will. That's how detailed the Father's will is. You see it right here. It's Jesus' own words. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Not how many hairs you have, but each individual hair has a number. One day, 234 will fall out. Another day, hair 1,427 will fall out. Every hair is numbered. But do not fear, therefore, you are of more value than many sparrows. Therefore, whoever confesses me before men, him I will also confess before my Father who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, him I also will deny before my Father who is in heaven. And then it goes on. This is actually a really good instruction from the Lord. Definitely worth your study here in Matthew 10. No one will dispute this statement, for it would be unseemly for the servant to be exalted above his master. When our Lord was on earth, what was the treatment he received? Were his claims acknowledged? His instructions followed? His perfections worshipped by those who he came to bless? If they won't follow your instructions, if they won't hear what you have to say, just know they didn't listen to him either. That's why I tell you guys, you can't convince people. Just preach the truth. The Lord will wake them up. The Lord will save them. It's not our job to save people. We can't do it. It's not within our capability. He does that. We just tell them the truth. So if they do it to us, don't be surprised, because they did it more to him. No, he was despised and rejected of men. Outside the camp was his place. Cross-bearing was his occupation. Did the world yield him solace and rest? Foxes have holes is a verse. Foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. This inhospitable country afforded him no shelter. That was his own people. It cast him out and crucified him. It was his own people. Would it be a surprise if it happened here? Listen, he also says that a man's enemies will be members of his own household. Some of us may have to deal with that. It's in the Bible. Such, if you are a follower of Jesus and maintain a consistent Christ-like walk and conversation, you must expect to be the lot of that part of your spiritual life, which, in its outward development, comes under the observation of men. Live every day to glorify the Lord, and don't be surprised if it brings negative response. Don't be surprised. So they say they don't like it. Tell them it's okay. You don't have to like it. I don't expect you to like it. I'm not trying to make you like it. This is me. This is what I believe, and I will not change. Have a nice day. They will treat it as they treated the Savior. They will despise it. Dream not that worldlings will admire you, or that the more holy and the more Christ-like you are, the more peacefully people will act towards you. In fact, it'll be worse if you do that. A lot of people have learned that lesson the hard way, because they thought, oh, I'll do this and I'll do that, and then everybody's going to just fall on their face all around me. Nope. They prize not the polished gem. How should they value the jewel in the rough? If they don't want the gem with all the facets of the pretty one, what about the one that isn't pretty? If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household? If we were more like Christ, we should be more hated by his enemies. It were a sad dishonor to a child of God to be the world's favorite. I'm getting all kinds of verses coming up. They're like, beware if men speak good of you. It is a very ill omen to hear a wicked world clap its hands and shout, well done, to the Christian man. You hear that? Red flag. You need to start looking, paying attention. Wait a minute. There's a verse in the Bible about that. What's going on? He may begin to look to his character and wonder whether he has not been doing wrong, when the unrighteous give him their approbation. Let us be true to our master and have no friendship with a blind and base world which scorns and rejects him. Far be it from us to seek a crown of honor where our Lord found a coronet of thorn. Brothers and sisters, you may have heard this saying, I'm not here to make friends. Our goal isn't to make people like us. Our goal is to make saved Christians. Our goal isn't to have people appreciate us and accept us. Our goal is to divide the wheat and the chaff. Our goal is to expose those who have hearts that will change for the Lord to save, and expose those who are evil. To separate that stuff. And the people who will receive the gospel, give it to them. That's what the Lord came to do. At one point, he run off like 3,000 people. He started talking some hard stuff, some stuff they couldn't accept, and they were like, "Oof, oof, nope, we don't want that. Thanks for the bread and the fish." Bounced, and he looks at the apostles and says, "You guys going to go off too?" Peter was he was locked in, and he says, "No, no, you have the words of life. Where else are we going to go? And who else will we get this from? No one. So we're staying here." So if they did that to the Lord, you can count on them doing it to us. Now, as a side note or a side conversation, people have different views on what persecution should be. I can tell you this: spiritual persecution, and that can happen within government, and they'll use government and agencies and stuff like that to assault us in our lifestyles and everything like that. You know, most Christians are pretty poor, and there's a reason for that. They're passed over for pretty much everything. But the Lord does take care of us. Spiritual persecution is worse than physical persecution. Physical persecution is finite. Physical persecution, you can see it coming, and you see it when it leaves. And the worst that can happen, the worst, is that they take your life. They send you to be home. That's an amazing thing. You get to go be with the Lord. That's even better, Paul said. To stay here is good. To go with him is even better. That's the worst that can happen. That torment, those wounds heal. That torment only goes so long. That torment has an expiration. Spiritual persecution never ends. You can't see it coming. A lot of times we can't even see it when it's happening. Sometimes it happens behind closed doors. Sometimes it happens in private meetings. Sometimes people talk about us behind our backs, and we're blissfully unaware that it's happening, but it's still happening. We're still being persecuted, even if we don't know it. Even if we don't see it. Even if we're not in the same state, it can still happen. Spiritual persecution is harsh, and it leaves a lot of internal scars. I would love to on the day, because I believe Jesus has all his scars still. That's why nobody recognized him. And I kind of hope on that day when we're glorified that I can wear my internal scars on the outside. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work out. Because many of us have internal scars. We've been hurt by the world. We've been hurt by family, friends, neighbors. We've been hurt by all kinds of people, our kids. Those never heal. That never goes away. You know, they talk about this, like especially with PTSD and that. Well, you know, you can heal even a little bit over time. No, it never goes away. Never. You learn to live with it, but it never goes away. That stuff stays with you for life. If they torment me physically, those wounds will heal. I may have scars from them, but they'll heal. Spiritually, the attacks on the mind are staggering. And everything in our society today, here, especially in America, is geared towards that. Look at how much temptation there is on just simple things. Clothing ads. They dress them that way on purpose. They use certain people on purpose. It's to incite an erotic response. You can look this stuff up. They've all admitted it. Social media is designed to get you hooked, addicted to likes and comments and hearts. They admitted it. They admitted it on camera. A bunch of years ago. They said, yeah, this was the goal. So don't think for one second here in America, because, and I say this a lot because here, a lot of Christians think, well, everything seems to be, from my perception of what I can see and hear, everything seems to be going good. Everything seems to be okay. I don't see where we're being persecuted. But you know, you're being watched by demons at all times. At any moment, something can happen. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not underway. And like I said earlier, The government has been actively, since 2009, they have been actively out in the open, desperately trying to pass legislation against us. They got caught doing it once, and they talked about it. And there was a bunch of videos. Ted Cruz and all them guys were up there talking about that stuff. They got caught. Very explicit. They were trying to pass legislation against us. The Jews have classically been the most persecuted people on the planet. Christians always ran a very close second. I think we passed them. We're both changing places for first place. So don't be surprised, and don't think you're by yourself. Now, what had happened in the Bible when they suffered persecution for the name of the Lord? They rejoiced. We can too. It may not feel good in the moment, but later you can give thanks to the Lord. Lord, thank you for allowing me to suffer in your name. And Lord, where I don't see it, where I don't notice it, stuff that's happening outside of my perception, Lord, I thank you for that persecution, that spiritual persecution, that you found me worthy to suffer in your name. You allowed that to happen. There's a lot that goes with that when we get to heaven. We've all been on the receiving end of it. Some of us battle demons in our own households. Ask YB. She had to. She put it in the comments. She talked about it. I haven't heard from her in a while. Hope she comments soon. So, we're all under this. We're all in this. We're on the receiving end of this. It should be no surprise to nobody that's happening. And just because we're here in America and things are good, like I just saw, Trump actually came out and posted he's going to send everybody a $2,000 tariff check because we're bringing in trillions of dollars. We're like the country's doing better than it ever has. Everything's doing great. Daniel 8, that nation will grow very great after they attack Iran. Well, we attacked Iran, came across the whole world, not touching the ground. It was an airstrike from Fort Leonard Wood. So yeah, I mean, might be doing it again pretty soon. But now we're doing very great and everything. He goes, so I'm gonna send everybody a $2,000 tariff check. I'm gonna send some of that stuff back that everybody's been taken away from us. And it's wild, guys. It's wild how vehemently the devil has been desperately trying to get to us and to assault us and to attack us, but we are protected by the Lord. And at any point in time, here's what you should do: is instead of praying or putting on the armor in Ephesians 6 like a lot of videos do, I used to say that. I realize you just live it every day. You go with your armor on all times. And you can call on that stuff. You can call on the Lord to surround you with a hedge. You can call on the Lord for protection. You can call on him to help you in those moments when things all suddenly happen. Evil will always be here till the Lord returns and puts a stop to it. We live in enemy territory. So again, don't be surprised. Be ready. Have it settled in your hearts of the possibilities. If it happens in other countries, it can happen here. It's happening in Uganda. They're putting a stop to it now. They got some threats. It can happen here. Don't be surprised if it does. It can happen anywhere. Because if they did it to him, they will most certainly do it to us. Probably that much more. And you know what? What is that to us? What is that to us when compared to heaven and eternity? Nothing. Nothing. 1 minute. I'll close with this. 1 minute with Jesus Christ. And you will forget a lifetime of troubles. 1 hour in heaven. And we will proclaim. We can't help but proclaim. Why did I ever doubt? Why did I ever fear? Why did I ever worry? Those troubles of that life are gone forever. I never have to look at that again. And in a 10 million years, when we're all still in eternity and we're all still enjoying and standing in the glory of the Lord, those things will be an afterthought. Those things will be, a footnote. Not even to be acknowledged. They'll be gone. And we will be doing amazing things. I say 10 million years, but in heaven there is no time, so I'm just using it as a reference. But so don't worry. Don't worry. If you're on the receiving end of it, just know that it is a blessing to be counted worthy to suffer those things. And go to the Lord and thank him for it. But don't be surprised at how subtle it can come too. If I could tell you some things that are happening to me now that are very, very subtle that nobody else sees around me. I see it. I know it's there. I'm aware of it and I'm prepared for it. You might be surprised at who is doing it to you. And we've been taught not to look for those things, but I'm learning how to look for them, and I'm seeing it. And I'm seeing it in some of the people that are closest to me. And it's wild. So it can come from anywhere, anyone. And this is our life here. And it's only for a short time, and then it'll be over. Our Lord is coming for us. He said it. I believe him. I'm taking him at his word. He's coming for us. And then we will go to be with him. And then none of this will matter anymore. I love you all very much. I bless you all in Jesus' name. And I'll see you in the next video.